everyone. Today I'm at a brand new yoga studio here in Maple Ridge called Body Positivity Yoga. They just opened up a couple of weeks ago, and on opening day I came by because I wanted to check it out, and I got to meet the owner, Lisa Papez, otherwise known as the Fat Yogini. And after talking with her, I really felt inspired that I wanted to showcase her and her message here on the Positivity Kitty. So without further ado, let me introduce you to Lisa. So we're here with the owner of the Body Positivity Yoga, Lisa Papez. And you know, Lisa, when I first heard about your studio, the thing that just stuck out most for me was the term body positivity. So tell us, what does that mean to you?
God, to be body positive, it's no weight loss talk, it's no diet talk, it's no body shame, it's no negative self-talk. It kind of means that what I'm trying to do is create a safe space where we can get out of all that social stigma around body shape, body size, body image, and just have like a positive experience in a positive environment without all of that sort of social noise that we aren't good enough.
Oh, definitely. I mean, I'm all for breaking down these stereotypes, most definitely. Now, so how are you incorporating that idea in with yoga?
So what we're trying to do is create a safe space for people that can explore the practice. So one of the things we're doing is we're gearing all of our classes to be gentle and accessible to beginners, for starters, whereas a lot of studios try to cater to people at all levels. Our gentle yoga is appropriate for all levels, but we're really gearing more towards gentle. So that's the first piece of that. The second piece of that is that all of our teachers are trained to make the practice and the poses accessible to people at all shapes and sizes and levels of ability. So we've talked modifications, we've talked variations on poses, and we get really creative with making the practice accessible. So some things that we might do differently from other yoga studios is that we have less awkward transitions. So instead of fancy ways to get from one pose to another, we'll often invite students to come into a pose any way that they'd like. Like, we're going to come to standing now, why don't you just come up into standing any way that you'd like. Little changes like that make the practice more accessible for people who are like, how do I get my knee up to my front hand again for that lunge? Like, I don't understand. We try to make it really approachable.
Well, that's perfect, especially for like a person like me, who whenever I first thought about yoga, I never even actually considered it because I'm not the stereotypical body type that we just associate as being a yoga practice. So knowing that I'm not going to feel out of place or kind of feel judged in any way by how quickly I go from one to another, I mean, that's just awesome. I appreciate that just so much. So tell us a little bit, like the specific different classes that you have.
So right now on the schedule we have Gentle Hatha, which is, Hatha yoga is any classical type of movement yoga. So when we think of the stereotypical yoga that we might see in magazines or on TV, they're all types of Hatha yoga. Gentle Hatha yoga is a methodical practice where we might hold poses from anywhere from 2 breaths to 5 breaths at a time. We don't move really quickly from pose to pose, and we also don't fire off a pose name and expect you to know what that is. So we'll lead you and guide you by telling you how to move your body to get from pose to pose. It's designed to be gentle, which means that we're not going to do any crazy standing on our head or any fancy arm balances. It's all going to be accessible, approachable poses. So that's the Gentle Hatha. We also have restorative yoga, which is amazing. We can call that fort building yoga or cuddly yoga, where we use all of these lovely props and we get really comfortable in poses. And the entire purpose of restorative is just deep relaxation. So that class is really designed just to get you out of your stress response, out of your sympathetic nervous system and into your parasympathetic to really relax and unwind. We have deep stretch yin. Yin yoga is a practice where we hold the poses for a fairly long time, anywhere from maybe 2 to 5 minutes a pose. We use some props to support ourselves, but we are looking for a fairly deep stretch. And in that class, we're targeting the connective tissues of the body, looking for a deeper opening, connective tissues being the fascia that surrounds all of your muscles, the connective tissues in your joints. And so we're looking to stretch and strengthen and stress those tissues in a healthy way. And what else do we have? Oh, we have all ages chair. And all ages chair yoga is designed for people who are concerned about getting up and down off the floor, and so that they want really a chair supported practice. So the entire practice is supported by chairs. There may be some standing or holding onto the chair, but primarily seated. And we have a seniors class right now.
Well, that's perfect. Like I say, you really kind of then really like walk the talk kind of thing, like, and that it's all ages, all sizes that feel comfortable in this space. So that's just absolutely perfect.
And one thing too that's really amazing is that we have this opportunity to sort of rebrand yoga itself in a way. There's a like you said, there's a big stereotype and a stigma, and that people have to be a particular look to do yoga. We see it's very young, it tends to be very white, tends to be very thin, and so what I want to do instead is have this be like a space for diversity. And one of the things that I'm really avoiding doing is putting advanced yoga, hard yoga on the schedule. We're making it all gentle. We have a style we're actually created called Go With The Flow that takes a more powerful style of yoga and dials it back. So what we do is we spend the first portion of the class instructing certain poses, and the second portion of the class putting it together in a quick flow, so that you get that feeling of doing that quicker, more flowing yoga, but you don't have to know all the poses from the beginning. You learn them and then you do them. So it's pretty cool.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Now, one thing that I have to address, because it was something I know when I first saw it, it just stopped me in my tracks a little bit, is your name. Why do you call yourself the Fat Yogini? Because most people would not associate the word fat with body positivity. Yeah. Now, I know you had a great blog post all about it, but if you could kind of just give us a little synopsis, how did you come up with that?
In the very beginning, when I first started practicing yoga, it was a secret, and it was a secret of mine for probably at least 5 to 10 years. So I didn't tell anybody. My friends didn't know I did yoga, my family didn't know I did yoga. It was something I did in secret. And that was because I really thought yoga was not for fat people. I thought big people, curvy people, whatever word you want to use. When I started to realize that what I was doing was changing completely the relationship with my body, I started to feel a lot differently about myself, and I started to recognize my body might just be okay. Like I might not need to panic all the time about trying to change it. And the word fat, when I discovered the body positive community, I'll say, the body acceptance community, for me the word fat has always meant lazy, disgusting, ugly, unworthy, all of these other things. And what I've discovered sort of in my journey to accepting myself is that the word fat only means those other things because we've created a world that says that fat means all those other things. It doesn't actually mean that. Fat means that I have extra fat on my body. That's the only thing it means. It doesn't mean I'm unhealthy. It doesn't mean I'm lazy or unhealthy or unfit. It just means I have more fat on my body. And so I heard this great thing once about other languages, in particular in sign language, when something is being described, there's no beating around the bush, right? You get right to the point. It's very blunt language. I don't know sign language, but I learned a little bit about it. And I was like, that's amazing. When you're describing somebody, you don't say that curvy person who's a little bit on the bigger side. You don't do that. You say that fat person over there. And there's no loaded meaning. And I thought that was really powerful. And I was like, you know what? I'm fat, no big deal. I'm going to call myself the Fat Yogini and kind of show people that fat just means fat. It doesn't have to mean all those other things. That's really why I wanted to choose that name for myself and just kind of be out there and say, yeah, so what? It's just fat.
That's so perfect, because I don't think we really realize the extra meanings that we put behind words. And like you say, when you look at it from a different perspective, it's like, yeah, there is no emotion behind it. It's just a word.
That's right.
It's a descriptor. That's it. So that's perfect. I love that.
Yeah.
So tell me and tell us, what are some of the things that you have coming up that you're really excited about? Because I know there's a workshop or a retreat that's coming up. So
I'm super excited. So we're actually having our second annual retreat in Fintry, BC this May. So that's next month. It's coming up pretty fast. That's really an amazing event because Fintry is just north of West Kelowna on Lake Okanagan. And we rent out this beautiful big property. It's our own sort of cottage. Cottage is a really bad word for it. It's a huge house with multiple bedrooms, and we have a games room. We have a private theater of 130-seat theater that's ours to use. We have a hot tub on the roof. My wife and stepson comes along and does all this amazing food for us, so nobody has to lift a finger. It's very luxurious. We don't serve granola. It's another area where I'm sort of doing something different than the stereotypical yoga community. It's not all this no offense to the broader community, but it's very full-flavored food. The idea behind it is that any food can be healthy or healthful for you if approached mindfully and with an air to just enjoying what you have in front of you without all this stigma attached, right? So we have great food. And You know, we enjoy some restorative yoga in the evenings in our pajamas. Sometimes we have a nice morning kind of hatha practice, and then we'll have some yin in the afternoons, and it's very social, small group. It's great. Love it. Very excited about that. That's coming up on May 20th, 19th or 20th. All the details are on my website. We have some great workshops coming up. We have an amazing one coming up with one of our teachers, Catherine, who's leading a workshop called Awakening to Midlife Wisdom, which is all about women going through transition in menopause and how to sort of approach that transition. And it's just amazing. If you go to the website, there's tons of details that talks about how to really reclaim this as a powerful time in your life. We have all these things that come up, and I'm not there yet, but I think I'm getting there soon. But yeah, just a really empowering workshop for women, which is really exciting. And we also have some workshops coming up for horseback riders and for just an introduction to body positivity yoga that I'm leading, and just a few other exciting things, and some other things on the way that aren't quite on the schedule yet, but it's going to be awesome. Yeah.
Oh, perfect. Those sound like absolutely amazing. I want to do them all. So speaking of the website, how can people find you and get in contact with you? Give us all your information.
Okay, so the studio is Body Positivity Yoga, so it's www.bodypositivityyoga.com. If that's a big mouthful, you can always find me at www.fatyogini.com. I'm on Twitter as fatyogini.com and on Pinterest, so I'm pretty easy to find and track down. We're just right here in Maple Ridge on 225th and just a little bit south of Lougheed, so it's a great little area to be. We have a quiet space and a nice small class sizes, so you're not going to be overwhelmed in this sea of people.
But I am positively inspired. You know, we live in a society now where we're trying to foster the idea of love and acceptance towards other people for who and what they are. But you know, a lot of times we really forget that love and acceptance has to start with ourselves. I know that's something that I almost have to remind myself on a daily basis. So I know this may sound a little strange, but I want to invite you to consider trying this. Is just take a couple of moments and look at yourself in the mirror and just say, I love and accept you just the way you are right now. And then do something to show yourself that. Take yourself out for coffee, buy yourself a bouquet of flowers, go for a walk out in nature, or give yourself that gift of 15 minutes of absolute peace and quiet where you can just sit and listen to what your body or what your mind might be telling you. Whatever you do and whatever you choose to do, just make it feel good for you. So again, I want to thank Lisa so much for allowing us to come in and chat with her today. And if you know anyone whose business is all about spreading the message of positivity, please let me know, as I would love to meet them and showcase them, their business, and their message here on the Positivity Kitty. So until next time, have a positively beautiful day.